Ahoy and welcome to this narrowboat adventure. Today I'm going to be doing my number 2 Q&A. I'm going to answer some more of your questions that have been asked since the last Q&A, of course. And yeah, we're going to see what we can do about getting you some answers. And if you wouldn't mind, down below, please do ask me any questions, specifically anything that you want me to cover that I haven't already done a video about. Winter's coming up, so bear that in mind. And yeah, let's get on with this. Let's find some Q's and I'll give you some A's. Bomb Rapaz asked on my How Far Can You Go on a Day video how many hours it took. We woke up and left for about 8 and we stopped at about 5:30. So about 9 hours. So yeah. It was a long day and we didn't stop for lunch. We kept meaning to and then we never got round to it. So we ate on the move. On the same video, Darryl comments, can you carry on moving at night? You can. Specifically if you have obviously got a big nice light on the front of your boat. Our light on the front of our boat is okay. But I probably wouldn't say that it's good enough to do a full move at night. So we're looking at getting that replaced at some stage soon. And I have an interesting story here. The other night before our big move, we were sat in bed going off to sleep at about midnight, and we were woken up at about 2 by this sort of weird rhythmic water noise, and my first thought was that somebody might have fallen in the canal. And we look out of the window to see going past this boat, and on the back it had a guy on a bike. The bike's wheels were attached to, like, you know those sort of New Orleans style boats with the circle wheels that flap with the flaps that push the water through. He had something like that on the back, but very homemade, and 2 guys on the front, each with a pole, kind of directing the boat. And so that was a nighttime cruiser, and I'm sure that other people do cruise at night. We just generally prefer not to. We prefer to get up and move with the sun as the sun rises, and then just keep going as long as we can if we have to go that far. Anyway, next question. Scott also asks if it's possible to fully open a lock's gates at both ends. It's not possible because of the water pressure. I'm gonna make a video at some stage about how locks work, but I'm kind of struggling to explain it. If anybody is an artist and maybe wants to help me out, I'd like to do some maybe drawings to help explain it, because it's quite difficult and you can't see what's going on because mostly it's underwater. So if you are an artist, send me a message on here or on Facebook, on my Facebook group, This Narrowboat Adventure, and I will get back to you quickly as a really quick thing, like Sonic the Hedgehog. Nicolaas and a couple of other people have asked if I ever did get a solar setup, and we did. We've had a solar setup for a month or so now. We're interested to see how it fares in the winter, but so far we haven't had to run our engine for power since, only for propulsion, and that's very nice. I'm loving the solar panels, but I don't want to make a video about them until I feel like I really understand how they work. Adrian wants to know if a lot of the older generation retire to narrowboats. And I think that this kind of depends on which part of the country you're in. I've noticed the closer you are to a city, the more young people you'll see living aboard, whereas the more out in the countryside you are, the more older generation living on boats. But yeah, I guess there's some people that retire to them. We met a really, really nice man yesterday who was saying that he was in his 70s and he'd just literally bought a boat, and you could still see all the markings from the survey on it, so he definitely had only just bought it. But then we also met a guy yesterday who was driving a boat down to London for his daughter. So there's all sorts on the canals, and I don't think it's necessarily a particular age group's thing. On my rubbish video, Clay says, "Wait a minute, those are your boat moving clothes." And you're right, they are my boat moving clothes. So yeah, generally when we do our rubbish, water or toilets, it's on the same day that we're moving a boat. Ideally, it's when we move the boat past a place where we can do that. but not always. But most of the time that's what we try and plan our moves around. New Junction asks if boat people wash their boats the way people wash their cars. Yeah, some people do. We don't. Our boat gets a bit mucky. I've been making a real concise effort to wash our solar panels, as they work best when they're not covered in dust. If we moor up under a tree and we get loads of leaves on top of the boat, then yeah, I'll do it then. But generally we don't wash it like just so that it looks nice. We just wait for it to rain. Very lazy, I know. But I've certainly seen people washing them that way. A1BJ Paul says, why not use a freshwater tank and a grey water tank instead of having ballasts? And I'm not sure if this was mentioned at all in my video about water, but actually boats don't have a grey water tank. Our water that's grey, meaning not human waste, so things like after you have a shower or you do your washing up, that water just goes straight back in the canal. And that's why most boaters will use an eco-friendly kind of washing up liquid and make an effort not to use hair dye and things when they're at their boat. I have occasionally had to dye my hair for parts, and I've always said to them I'm happy to do that so long as I can do it at the film set rather than have to do it at my house. M. Burns asks if we've ever had any infestations of vermin. No, there are some things that are more common on boats. I know some people have had mice and things like that. We haven't had anything like that. There is a big problem on boats with false widow spiders, because they're quite poisonous if they sting you. We have a lot of spiders, but not false widows, and we really like them because there's also a lot of mosquitoes at a certain time of year. There was one point where we had these spiders, and each spider seemed to do a web right across the window, so that when the mosquitoes tried to fly in, they'd get stuck in the web, and it was excellent because we had hardly any mosquitoes. Their webs were all completely full, so everyone was happy, and we lived together as one happy family, except for the mosquitoes. I don't imagine they were very happy. But I was happy with the spiders, and some of them got absolutely huge. Anyway, that's all the questions that I have time to answer for you today. And if you would like to ask me any other questions, please do leave them in the comment of this video or any other video, and I will do my best to answer them very soon. I do try and reply to every comment, regardless of whether or not it goes into a video. So, yeah, let me know what you want to know. Thanks so much for watching, and yeah, have a lovely day. Join us again on this narrowboat adventure by clicking subscribe, and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye!